Hi, Maggie. So,
Hey,
today at the thrift
Isabella.
store, we got a new rack. So, basically, what this means is we set up a new section in the store and we called it Fabulous Fashion Finds. And what this means is everything on the rack is stuff that's brand name, like Tommy Hilfiger, Aritzia, Lululemon, and it goes so fast. Everybody wants the new brands.
Okay, so for wonderful listeners who don't know you, why do you have a thrift store? Why do you have a rack?
So I work at the thrift store, and basically we've been getting a lot of donations that's expensive and branded, and we realized that people want these items more, even though they may look like just regular items. So because of those brands, we created a new section where people can find the different clothes that have brand names.
That's kind of okay. That's ooh, I can't wrap my head around that because I feel like I've been to this thrift store, right? And these pieces of clothing, just in the normal section, just under like women's t-shirt, they feel the exact same quality, and they're not like damaged, they're not stained, they're not like thinning. Because if they were, she would have tossed them in the trash, right? They're just like normal quality clothing, but nobody even flips through that. Nobody really like shovels through and tries to find the good quality ones. All they look for is the name, which is kind of what we're talking about now, which is consumerism.
Exactly. Consumerism is rampant around us in this age. There's just so many different people. Like the other day, these two girls came in and they were shopping, just found some regular, nice looking t shirts, some graphic tees. I checked them out and they were like, oh, I wish there was some good brands in the store. So I directed them to the rack. And then they just went through it like crazy and grabbed out as many clothes as they could, even though they didn't look nearly as good, at least in my opinion and my coworkers' opinion, as the other clothes that they already bought.
Mm-hmm. And I know this is like huge in like TikTok too, but in like thrifting culture. And you see those little girlies doing it like thrift haul, come thrifting with me. And the only things they like feel like good about and they're like excited to show off is like, oh my god, this is like Nike, this is from Aritzia, this is from I can't think of another brand. This is from like Lululemon, right? And they're only showing off these brand names. Which, you know what? I get there's a higher resale value. We're talking about resale value definitely soon. But if you're going to flip through a thrift store, you'll notice that you can find the exact same quality thing, better quality thing for less, just if you're willing to sacrifice the brand name that does almost nothing.
And honestly, yeah, you're totally right. And these influencers market it in a certain way too. They say things like, these new clothings will build your confidence and make your life
Oh my
better.
god.
These clothing will
I'm
make you
so
be a rich girl. Like,
I'm so sick of hearing run, don't walk to your nearest H&M. Or like, here are my top 10 Amazon must-haves to be the clean girl aesthetic. I cannot hear the word clean girl aesthetic on TikTok one more time before I need to like claw my mind out of my body. Like, you know what I mean, right? If you just been on TikTok in the last month.
yeah, and they're like feeding into the type of teens that watch TikTok. They're feeding into their egos and trying to make them feel like that if they buy a certain brand or certain clothing, it will change their entire life. And that's the way to acquire that lifestyle when really it's not. And it just convinces teens to buy more
Mhm.
things.
Exactly. They're not selling a product anymore. They're trying to sell a lifestyle. They're showing like these people with like expensive cars and like expensive like clubbing and like these beautiful lifestyles and then they try to sell you like a Jisoo hair oil and they're trying to like they're implying that like if you buy this oil you can have that lifestyle which just isn't true but that kind of basically I don't want to use the word brainwashing because I feel like that's associated with like theories and stuff but it's basically it's brainwashing.
Yeah,
It
it's
is
manipulation.
brainwashing.
Yeah.
It is because like they're trying to sell this vibe, this aesthetic. They're saying like, oh, people will love you. You'll have this confidence. You'll have this aura. You'll be rich. You'll be fabulous if you buy this like lip liner. And like, come on, let's think about it really. And most of these influencers, they're just doing this because they get money from it. Like these Amazon must-haves, you don't need them. First of all, they're not a must-have. You don't need them at all. But they get that commission link, and that's why they're trying to sell you their lifestyle by saying, "Oh, if you buy this, Amazon like container, then you can have the lifestyle I do."
Hmm.
Crazy.
Exactly. And this is especially harmful for teen girls because of the makeup industry, for example. Like brands like Rare Beauty using influencers to try to promote using materialism and self worth as one combined thing, which is just so wrong to target people in that way.
Hmm. And I feel like another thing I've noticed is because of how much like products are being pushed now, it kind of like, especially on social media, there's a lack of individuality now. People cannot say they like something without saying like, "Oh, this aesthetic is so clean girl. This aesthetic is so like pink Pilates princess, or this aesthetic is so coastal granddaughter." And it's like, no, these are not real words. Like, you have you seen like people were super upset because people were rebranding like light blue nails as blueberry milk nails because
Yeah,
there has to be a way to sell it and to romanticize it. But you know what? Whatever, romanticize your life. But if you're constantly trying to get young teen girls to fit inside a box of whether you're like, oh, I'm like Y2K, I'm like grunge, just like by like making these little TikTok mood boards with a bunch of products and a bunch of clothing, you're like furthering like trying to make these young girls fit themselves into a box based on what products they want you to buy, which is insane.
and you might relate to this too. Like a lot of teens, not only teen girls, but just teens in general, they might feel like their identity is in trouble because as teens, we want to stand out from the crowd, but we also want to fit in at the same time. So, like you said, having these kind of stereotypes and these boxes, it's difficult to find that balance.
Hmm. And like again, what you mentioned with the self worth, a lot of people think that a mascara, this specific mascara, is suddenly gonna make you confident. It's gonna make you feel better about yourself. It's gonna like get rid of your insecurities, and people take advantage of that. These makeup industries, they know that they are very aware of this, and they use that fact that they think they can fix your insecurity. They can make you think they're fixing your insecurity to sell more. And what bugs me the most is a lot of these two-thirds of the executives in the makeup industry are men. These are like grown men profiting off of young girls' insecurities, and that rubs me in such a wrong way. It's gross.
And I want to clarify too, like it's totally fine to wear makeup if it makes you feel good and feel
Mhm.
happy. That's fine. It's the over promotion of your self-worth being attached to material. And like you said, a lot of people profiting off of this, off of the exploitation of young people.
Mhm. Oh, absolutely. Just to clarify, I've seen so many podcast clips on TikTok where these women are like, I don't wear makeup, like makeup dilutes a woman's self worth and natural beauty. We're not one of them. We're not one of them. We promise we aren't. We're just saying, yeah, like Isabella said, makeup, it makes you feel better about yourself, makes you more confident, it's fun, it's whatever. Like, that's great. We're glad that you found something that helps for you. But it's the way that these makeup industry, these big industries know that and are profiting off of young girls' insecurities. That is what is wrong. It's not the girls using. It's like they hate the don't hate the player, hate the game kind of thing, right? Right? That's how you
Yeah,
use
for
that
sure.
phrase.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and definitely it's just an issue with creating that mindset as well. Because I feel like a lot of times at the thrift store, for example, if you pick up a cute cloth and go, wow, this shirt looks so nice on me, I want to buy it, that's totally fine. But then going through hundreds of things to think, oh, will other people think I look cool if I wear this fancy Italian brand? That's a totally different thing.
And I know something I've noticed in like thrift videos and even just going to thrift stores, Isabella too, working in the actual thrift store. You see a lot of micro trends. These are things that were super trendy for about 4 weeks, right? A month, not even. And then they end up in all the stores. They end up in the thrift stores. They end up in the junk piles. They end up in your bins that you have to sort through and put on the racks, right? Like going and you'll see a lot of like things that were super popular last season and then only lasted one season. All these people were thinking like, oh, I have to buy this latest trending thing. I have to buy this like, okay, I'm trying to think of a micro trend that happened lately.
I have one. So at the thrift store, there's these two teen girls, probably around our age. They were just shopping around for some nice clothes. One of them picks up this Shein crop top. It's kind of like the dark academia vibe, I guess. It was like one of those
Ah.
like brown and black kind of plaid-ish type of crop top. And
Mhm.
then the other girl went, yeah, it's cute, but that was so last month. It's Shein. Nobody buys Shein anymore. Yeah, Shein, like I don't support Shein because they're fast fashion, but at the same time, her reason for not letting her friend buy that was just
Was
so
because other
toxic.
people aren't buying it.
Yeah.
That's great. Like, don't support Shein because they profit off of like bad labor conditions. But some people are not buying Shein because the public opinion doesn't like Shein anymore, which is crazy. But also, like again, like you mentioned, these micro trends all end up because of overconsumption. They end up in the bins, like on mass levels. There's thousands of plastic and thousands of items, and there's so many like research on this that shows how like damaging the fast fashion industry really is. But for this kind of insecurities, on like the more feminism topic, is girls feel the need that they always have to be keeping up with the latest and the latest fashion just to be seen as like socially acceptable, which I think is something we really, really need to address.
And it comes into that woman in competition thing too. Women being pitted against each other to gain
Mm-hmm.
certain spots, and women thinking, "Oh, I have to dress prettier than this other girl, or I have to do my
Mm-hmm.
makeup better than this girl. I need to get a more expensive product than this girl to be better."
And I know a lot of these things that are like marketed towards young girls are like, oh, this will make you better than other girls, are the same products for like men and like everyone else, but marked up to like twice the price, three times the price just by slapping marketing towards it. That's like the pink tax idea, right? For example, you can go to like a store and you can find like a men's razor, and then you can find a razor that's like female facial razor, smooth skin, beautiful clear skin, right? And then there's like two times the price, and it's the same razor. I promise you, it is the same razor, okay? But just because of that kind of like, again, it's not selling the product, right? The razor is the same. It's selling that idea of like a perfect stereotypical beauty of a woman. And that is what sells. And that is so unfortunate because, again, it's the same razor. You're just trying to sell that lifestyle and expectations that come with it. Oh, it grosses me out. Pink tax is real. People say it's not real, it's real.
Mhm. Yeah, the pink tax and the way things are marketed too. Like I've seen one moisturizer campaign for men where it's just like make your skin feel healthy. Well, one for women might be become ageless, become desirable, make your skin so silky smooth. And it's like it's the same lotion. Can you
Mm-hmm.
stop? The same
That's
thing.
also something like this isn't just young girls, right? This makeup, like the makeup, skincare, beauty industry affects everyone. Like I know so many people. Like I know like my mom too, like people around her age, they're so worried about aging, right? They're like so freaked out about it. And my mom would go out and she'll buy so many creams and stuff and like retinoids and stuff. And it's like aging is something that's so looked down upon and by society, right? Just by the patriarchy in general. Whole other topic we'll have to get into sometime. But again, these beauty industries know. They're very aware of this, and because of that, they'll market things that are like, oh, sunscreen to reduce aging, which is the exact same drugstore sunscreen you can find anywhere. But they take those fears of growing up for these like middle-aged women and like capitalize on it.
I think it's kind of scary because as us being having took a marketing class together, we kind of know how when you market things, you want to market towards a certain target audience, think about what they need and what they want. And I feel like it comes from kind of before when women were expected to always give birth, like that was their one role. And when you're younger, you're more able to give birth or you're more likely to have birth success. So that's kind of how that idea came, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's definitely really upsetting that it's being exploited now still when that idea is really around as much.
Mm-hmm. And like I think marketing is super interesting, right? Like this is a topic that like I personally like I'm really passionate about. But it makes you question like what kind of ethics need to be put in place where in the beauty, makeup, skincare industry, the marketing tactics they use is mainly just exploitation. It's mainly just taking young girls, older women, all women's worst fears and finding a way to make them spend their cash on that. So I think that's something like a lot of industries really need to address more, especially since again, like I mentioned, most of these executives aren't women. They're not in position of power at all.
Because there's no doubt about it that marketing is about fulfilling somebody's wants or needs, but it
Mm-hmm.
definitely should not be exploitation. There's definitely ethics involved in this, and it shouldn't be affecting people's mental health negatively either.
Oh, definitely. I know people personally who will only buy like brand names of clothing because they like think if they don't wear it, then their self worth is less. Like if I don't have the latest like Aritzia skirt, then their self worth is less than someone who does have that. And I think separating self-worth from materialism is something super important if we want to like get rid of these insecurities.
Yeah, I think if we want people to take away one thing from this episode, it'd be that. Don't relate. You can buy brand things, that's fine. Like, I think it's so fun when my coworkers get excited seeing something brand name come into the store. But definitely don't think, oh, if I don't buy this brand name thing, then who am I? What am I worth?
I saw someone say at one point, I don't know where, don't quote me, but they said that if women one day woke up, all women worldwide, and decided I'm gonna stop caring about my looks, then like so many billions of dollars of beauty industries would just vanish, like on the spot, gone. Because again, it is these insecurities that fuel these multi-billion-dollar corporations and like industries. Because like again, that's the root of it all. And I know some people have started addressing this, like thrifting became really popular again in the recent years. Like I've seen people more thrifting. Well, of course, a lot of them are just to resell, which not great. But again, thrifting, I think you've noticed too that people who come into your thrift store are really cool people most of the time because they recognize that like overconsumption isn't great, and they recognize that you don't need specific brand names to feel confident in yourself or be happy. And a lot of times there's some really cool thrift finds. I'm sure you okay. There have been so many cool things in Isabel's thrift store. Any cool things on your
Yeah,
mind?
but like first I want to mention that thrifting's not really just a fashion thing. Like I was talking to my brother the other day actually about like the demographics of people that come to the thrift store. And yeah, there's people, young teen girls trying to find things like that are fashionable. Like one
Mm-hmm.
girl lost her $30 lip balm or whatever. There's those type of people. But there's also seniors who want to buy cute Christmas gifts. There's a lot of new immigrants who are just trying to get by. So definitely thrifting is also about having something accessible.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, so I think that's really the main purpose there. And I feel like meeting a lot of these people, you realize that they really don't have the luxury of being able to be attached to a brand or being attached to materialism because they just don't have the luxury of it.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely seeing from that perspective, it kind of shows you that these people have their own self worth without materialism. So something we
Mm-hmm.
can learn from there, I think.
Like when you realize that like materialism is such like a social construct, right? Like if you think about it really, like who told you that wearing this like Skims long sleeve t-shirt is better than wearing another long sleeve t-shirt? Like there's no like actual reasoning behind it. If you try to justify it to yourself, you can't, right? You can't justify that because you know that there's nothing that really backs it up except for that's just what society expects. So honestly, guys, watching this, go to your local thrift store, support them because thrift stores deserve some support, right? You'll find something really cool. For example, I went to the thrift store a few months ago and I picked up this shirt and it says the Holy Spirit touches Australia, right? Which is the funniest shirt I've ever seen, right? Because we're Canadian. So I have no idea how this shirt got here. There
Yeah,
are
he really likes
kangaroos
aliens.
reading the Holy Bible, right? And then kangaroos getting baptized because they're Australian and they're Christian. And I got the shirt for like $7, right? I don't think you can find the shirt anywhere else, unlike Shein, which mass produces all these like crop tops and stuff. No, this is one of a kind, right? You're not gonna get this shirt. I own this shirt now that has Australian kangaroos that are Christian. Thrift stores are amazing. You'll never know what you can find. And it's unique. It won't, you're saving something from ending up in the dumps. You're spending less money. You're not supporting these huge corporations. And you'll get something like Australian kangaroos that are Christian. I can't explain how much I love this shirt, right? I saw it and I'm like, I need to spend $7 of my money on this.
Yeah. About fashion finds, actually. We have this one regular customer. She makes her own clothes, and she, I think she sells them on Etsy, I want to say, but I don't know her like at, so I can't really say. But anyway, she donates stuff to us that she couldn't sell online. So one day she comes in with this embroidered vest. It's like a super colorful cat, and then on the top it says "now." And then she leaves, right? And then everybody working there is like, "What does that mean? That is so ominous." But we're gonna put it up. It sells in 5 minutes tops. Somebody comes and sees, "I love embroidered cats," and they take it. But look, it's not a brand name. It's not anything fancy. She doesn't even have her own brand, but it gets sold like that because it's unique and it's special, just
Mhm.
like us as individuals.
That's why uniqueness is something I feel like fast fashion is killing off. Like again, like I mentioned, these little like aesthetics and these like people were saying like, oh, I need to buy this if I want to fit this like clean girl aesthetic. I need to buy this if I want to fit this like coquette aesthetic. Be your own self. There's something you're gonna find that will not fit any aesthetic, but it is just the most like amazing piece of clothing you'll ever find, right? Like if I saw the shirt on like Shein or something, actually I still would have gotten it. But like this shirt is not on Shein, that's the point, right? I cannot get this shirt. But because it was the week of the Australian Grand Prix too, and it was Australian and there's a kangaroo and it's like I knew I needed it. And because of that, like the person with the cat embroidery vest that says now on it, they found something that is them, right? It represents them. And it's not fast fashion. It's not something that was mass produced by underpaid workers. This is something that someone cared a lot about, especially like the embroidered cat vest or my kangaroo shirt. And like have enough like it just has more history. It just is more meaningful than going to your department store and finding something off the rack that has the exact same thing and like over and over and over, you know?
Maggie, that shirt is so you, and I think that's what we're trying to
That
say.
is so me.
There's
Like if
something
I had
that
to describe my personality in one shirt, it's this shirt. Like if I need to tell someone who I am, I'm showing them this shirt.
you're jumpy and you're excited. You're just like a kangaroo. Wear something that makes you feel like you.
Okay, I don't know.